Yeah, I mean, if we take the performance overall, we did some good stuff. Obviously, got to go back and address the holdings and taking care of the ball a little bit, on my end as well.
Me too.
Uh, yeah, but I mean, just right there, the accountability that we have as a team, I'm not worried about it. We're going to come back and just go to work and figure out all the little things, and I'm just excited to go back to work.
Can you talk about the two touchdown runs, kind of taking the game into your own hands, legs, however you want to call it there?
Yeah, I mean, not necessarily, trying to do too much on those plays, just, doing what my coaches taught me, saw man coverage, bear, cover one, they had no hole player, so I just took off, know that the post safety's for me, and then made a good play. Develop my dual threat, you said? Yeah, I mean, I know that I can run, and the biggest thing was just not taking off too predetermined from last year, so I felt like, it was one thing I extended well while keep, pushing the ball down the field, which was one thing I really wanted to work on, so I was proud of myself for that.
Jordan, how did it feel just to get back out there after state championship?
Feels great. Yeah, it's just a blessing, my man. Feels great.
Sam, have penalties been a problem throughout the preseason?
No, I mean, it's just tough, going from camp to now, playing in a live setting where, calls are being made. We do it in practice, but a little different when someone's, really fighting to get off a block and make a play on the runner. So just going to go back to work and, get it down. I'm not too worried about it.
Sam, congratulations on the win. During the game, offensive lineman came out with injuries. How did you, as a quarterback, were able to keep up the communication with the line with different guys coming in different times? And congrats on the win.
Yeah, first of all, thank you. Second of all, yeah, I mean, just dudes, we got a bunch of depth really in all of our rooms, so I'm not too worried about it. When a new guy comes in, get acclimated to the game, know it's their first reps, so really dialing them into, whether it's protections or what the play call is, my voice, things along those lines. So Wade came in and did a really good job.
Sam, did you think there was any way that Jordan was catching that last touchdown?
I was pretty shocked he caught that. That was a hell of a catch. Probably one of the best catches I've seen in a while live. So props to him for that.
And Jordan, can you take us through what you were seeing? Did you surprise yourself?
Nah, I've actually worked on that catch like a lot. Like I feel like I mastered that catch when I was a kid, and I just never had the opportunity to really do it on the field until now. So just caught it, man. My trainer, we work on ball skills. That's all we work on. But he threw a good ball. He got hit. He was knocked on the ground. That's probably why he really didn't see it till he watched film. But yeah. To be honest, I was short when I was a freshman and a sophomore, so I played slot, and I was always playing slot. It was slot, slot, slot. So now I got taller, I could play outside and slot, so just worked on the outside thing, so kind of went hand in hand like that. It's kind of hard to double team or play cloud when I'm just playing the X or I'm just playing the Z. If you move me around, you can't do that, and I motion a lot too, so can't really game plan or double team me too much. So props to the coaches for doing all that.
Jordan, how would you assess the defensive?
I think it was a solid performance. Not to our standard though, just to be honest. I feel like we got a lot more to show. Too many penalties. But it was good to see everybody coming out there flying around. But in my opinion, and I think everybody else is on the defense too as well. That they know that's not our standard.
What would you say were the biggest lessons you guys have taken this game that you can apply against this team?
Same thing we've been working on, like honing in on just communication. You know what I'm saying? Just being in the right place at the right time. And just make sure calls getting relayed, things like that. But that's about it, honestly.
Sold out attendance record tonight for students. Sold out game, first home opener since 1998. How do you feel that the students and the fans impact the crowd tonight? Get back to the game.
Yeah, we need that. Thinking back to games last year, just the juice of the crowd changes the momentum of things. Makes it harder for the whole line on to hear the play call, the snap, all those things. So impacts everything. Congrats to Coach Dillingham to just for getting it jumping like that. Pretty cool to come out here for game one against NAU and see that.
With the sellout, how do you go up?
Get it a little bit louder.
Sam, if you had to give yourself a letter grade for your performance, what would you give for the team overall?
I'll say for myself, I'll probably give it like a C plus, maybe a B minus. For the team overall, I can't speak on the defense's behalf, but offensively, I'd say like a B.
You got one more.
I was very impressed. Leak was toting that rock today. That was good to see. But we just have a lot of versatile backs. We got, like, anything we need, we got it in the running back room. And we always got some fresh legs in there, so that's always good, too.
All right, thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Coach in here.
Hello. I mean, we won a football game, which is a positive. We got to be able to stop short yardage runs. That was not a positive. And we can't have 12 penalties for 93 yards that cost us probably an additional 170 yards, 150 yards of total yardage. So when you look at it all, if you just removed the penalties, this entire sheet is 200 yards different right now. And we got to get that cleaned up. That starts with me. I mean, I'm the end-all, be-all when it comes to stuff like that. And we've had officials at every practice. We haven't had that amount of holding calls called in all of camp than we had tonight, and we got to get that cleaned up.
All right, we'll use the mics from now on. Chris.
Kenny, just wanted to follow up on the penalties. What did you see that was like contributing to all that?
I don't know, to be honest. I'm gonna have to go watch the tape. If the one, Keyshawn grabbed the guy, like, is bang bang, but it looked like he shoved him, so I get it. But I don't know if it's bad for Keyshawn or not. It's one of those 50-50 ones, right? But it definitely looks like he's shoving him, so I get it. The holdings, I just got to go watch it. I got to see if we're outside the framework of our body. When it's in live time and you don't see the replay, your eyes aren't always directly on the guy who was holding, but there are a majority on the perimeter screens is where the penalties were happening. And we do perimeter drill often with live refs, and we don't get a lot of those flags. So I want to see if just game day we got some nerves to us and we're getting outside of our framework of our body. We'll go back and figure out what it is and try to get it, addressed this week.
And how much do you think that influenced the way that this game will be perceived by fans?
Oh, I don't care. I mean, I'm sorry. I don't. We got to go get better. We got to go back to work. We're 1-0. We had a sold-out crowd. I think we broke the student attendance record. So, I mean, yeah, could we have played better in the football game? Oh, 100%. You got to give NAU credit. They're a phenomenal staff. They do a great job. Their offensive schemes, defensive schemes, it's probably one of the worst teams you could ever play week one with how unique they play the game, right? So, I mean, you got to give them a lot of credit and that team a lot of credit too. It's not just, what we did wrong. It's also what they did right. So I would say, I'm a fan of that staff. So, go Lumberjacks. I'm rooting for them. They're another local team. And, I know Coach Wright's come out to a practice or so down here, and I hope we continue to have a relationship because he did a phenomenal job today, did a phenomenal job last year, and I want to make sure people are giving him his credit because I believe that he outcoached me tonight. And that's something that I got to look at, and I got to figure out how that doesn't happen again moving forward.
Coach, the Levitt to Tyson duo tonight was obviously just locked in. In a perfect world, would you rather the distribution to other receivers be a little bit more even, or was that just a product of taking with the defense?
Yeah, when you're an exotic team like that, you don't double players, right? Because you're so exotic. You can't be, run a bunch of exotics and double certain players. So if they're not going to double, if that's not their plan to double, our best guy, then we should probably just keep getting him the ball. Other teams that, their plan is more double-oriented on a player, then, yeah, we need more guys involved. So I think that's going to happen naturally throughout the season. I don't think it's going to be forced. I just think that just kind of happened based off the flow of the game and how they were playing defense and what their plan was.
Hey, Kenny, Max Bader, Walter Cronkite Sports Network. For the entire running back room and the amount of perception and the anticipation coming in, how do you feel like that whole room performed tonight? And then secondly, Sam, just on that stage, called his performance tonight a C+, and he had over 350 yards of total offense. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, Sam's hard on himself. Sam's going to be his hardest critic. That's just who Sam is. He's never going to be satisfied. But he had a really good football game. He had some really good checks there early, getting us into the right plays. He extended plays. He had some unbelievable throws into the pressures that we were struggling picking up. So I thought he played well. And I think he's only going to continue to play better as the season progresses. In terms of the running back room, You saw some explosive plays. One of them got called back, but that's what we saw in camp. That's what we were looking for. A couple of those plays don't get called back, and like I said, the dynamic of this game is different, and but that's football, right? That's the best part about this game is like a few things go a different direction, and it's a whole different feel and a whole different game, right? But no, I like where that room is at. And like I said, they did some crazy, unique things on defense. You got to give them a lot of credit for what they were doing schematically. It was good stuff.
Couple in the pack right here.
Coach, right here.
Hello.
Congrats on the win. Jordan Tyson had an unbelievable over-the-shoulder catch on that second touchdown, and he said that he's practiced it a lot, and he's also been through a lot considering that season-ending injury last season. He hasn't played in a long time. So since his time in Tempe, how impressed are you with his development, not just on the field but off the field?
Yeah, he's been awesome. I mean, his growth, he's grown up as a person. He drastically has grown up as a person, and I couldn't be more proud of him. I mean, he studies ball at a high rate. He comes up and gets extra. He takes care of his body. I mean, he's a true pro. So I'm very blessed that I get to coach him because he's a special player and a special person.
Hey, Kenny, Jacob Brooks, Sun Devil Source. Sam, when talking about Jordan's second touchdown, said it was one of the best catches he's ever seen him make. Do you ever get surprised when those guys make connections like that, or is it just another day at the office?
I'm surprised every day that they make plays like that. When you get to coach special players, and I think a lot of the guys on our team are special players, you're constantly amazed. And I honestly couldn't see it. I saw the throw. I didn't actually see him come down with it with my angle, so I'm excited to go watch it on tape and see the catch. But yeah, just happy we got a W, and it's always good to win ugly. That's one of the best things about coaching is when you win ugly and it wakes people up a little bit, and that's great. I mean, this is good.
Yeah, Coach Michael Carrasino, Pitchfork Lunch. When you talk about like sparking the offense, the fake punt, I mean, early, a lot of times you might do it later in a game, but just what did you see there? And obviously, Kaiser made a heck of a play.
Yeah, I mean, we had a good plan. Jack Nuno, our new special teams analyst, had a good idea going into the week, and another local guy, his dad's G Nuno, used to be the GM of the Rattlers, went to Brophy Prep, and getting him back in our organization, and he had a really good plan that he saw a team run it last year, and we put it in, and we said, hey, if we get into this specific situation, we wanted to run it, and we told the team pregame if we got in that situation, we'd run it. We got in that situation, so we ran it, and it was effective, and it really changed the game. If you look back, it looked like there was a chance that we could really take it and run from there, but we really stalled, and that touchdown kind of made it to where the game was, it was a game, but it was never like a threat. There was a balance, right? You always had that 2 touchdown or 2 possession gap there because of that play and then the following touchdown. So that was a critical play in the game.
Hey, Kenny, Dominic Pasella, Walter Cronkite Sports Network. You touched on the student attendance record earlier. You talked about activating the Valley. Valley seems pretty activated. How do you go up from here with a sold-out crowd?
Well, the city likes winning, so winning. I mean, I wish there was a better answer to that. But no, I mean, the crowd tonight was awesome. I mean, like I said, our games, they're not meant to be perfect, especially games early, right? They're meant to be ugly. You're meant to clean things up. You'd like them to be perfect. Last year we started so hot, right? Like right away, like holy cow, right? Today, this game reminded me of Texas State. From last year, where they do so many exotic things on defense, and they just got us. Like, it was just never in a rhythm, always getting us out of sync. And, then for a little bit there, we got back into a rhythm. Early in the year, you get spooked by some things like that. And I think that's what this game reminded. Even though we weren't losing like that game, this game had that similar feel of like we just weren't in sync because how unique they play defense. We couldn't really run a lot of what we normally run, which is kudos to them. Like I said, you got to give that staff a lot of credit because, there's a reason their defense was top 3 in their league last year. They return a lot of players, and they do a great job.
Hey, Kenny, Blake Neiman, Fox 10 News. What were your thoughts on Raleek Brown's performance, especially all he's had to go through to get back to this point?
Yeah, he really hasn't played in 2 years. I mean, he played a couple games last year before he got hurt, but he really hasn't played in 2 years, and we talked about earlier, he's put in the work like he's serious about it this offseason. He's gained the weight like it matters to him, and you can feel it out there on the field. He's running behind his pads. He's not just a fast guy anymore. And then you can see the explosiveness like he had in a few of those plays. I'm looking at the stats. I mean, 5 for 38, and then receiving. There it is, 3 for 13. But I guess the big one I'm thinking about is the one that was called back where he burst and would have gone for 80. And those are 70, whatever it was. And those were the plays we really didn't have a lot of last year, those huge, huge plays. He has that ability. And then when he did get the ball in the running game, I mean, he averaged 7.6 yards per carry. I mean, he was running behind his pads, tough to tackle. So I was very, very pleased with him. I'm fired up about him.
And quick follow-up. What were your just general thoughts on the rush attack tonight?
Yeah, early we struggled with, they're lining up with Bear with an extra, sometimes 2 extras, then stunting the front back. And the tags with all their twist games, we were just missing the looper sometimes or a few times because it's unique. You only practice it for 1 week, and they practice it all year. That's why it's good what they do, and they showed something a little different than what we practiced. So obviously they've been working on it, and that's the tough part of week ones is you have a team that's kind of doing something different and unique, and they've been practicing for a month, and you've been practicing it for 0 days. And until you get to game day, then you've got to out-execute. And that's the stuff we got to get better at as a staff, though, is, okay, we see it on tape, we know what they're doing, how do we get it fixed sooner? The second half, we ran the ball pretty effectively there after we got to go to the locker room and we made adjustments. We got to be able to try to make those adjustments sooner after we kind of see what they're doing. That way we can, run the ball earlier when we see these exotic things, because they're not the only team that's going to be exotic. It's just the first time you see kind of unique things. It's harder. The more you see it, the easier it becomes, as the season progresses.
Coach Adam Beadle, Arizona Varsity. Jordan Crook was just flying over the field defensively. Do you feel like this is one of his best games in an ASU uniform, and how much have you really seen him just evolve since he's been at ASU?
Oh yeah, he's on the leadership council. He's one of the leaders of the football team. He's one of our passionate leaders of the football team. He flies around. Crook's gonna have an unbelievable year. It's hard for me to say exactly how we played in the football game. Like, that wouldn't be fair, but if I had to guess, I would guess he played really well. For the most part, our defense played good defense. They had some short fields. They played good situational defense. Our 1s and 2s did. Like I said, the one area on defense that was a lapse was our, short yardage defense. We gave up too many yards, or too big of plays in short yardage. We got to find a way or why those things happened if the fits were wrong. Then they had obviously had a good way to attack what we were doing because, there were some pretty big holes in there. But yeah, I thought for the most part, Crook had a really good game from what I saw. I don't know from the other stuff.
Coach Alan Judson, Blaze Radio. You talk about the struggles of your defense, but you held NAU to go 2 of 15 on 3rd down. What did you see from your front 7 in those short yardage situations? Yeah, the short yardage situations, we struggled. So we got to get better at the short yardage situations. 3rd and long, we did a really good job. We had them in 3rd and medium and 3rd and long most of the night, and we did a nice job. They caught a really good mesh play at the 2-minute drill where I thought we were going to win the middle 8 and get the ball back. And they ended up converting on that 4th and 5 when they ran mesh, scooted away to the left and through the under. Yeah, the short yardage scenarios we got to get better at. The other situations we were pretty good other than that 1 4th down.
Hey, Coach. Adam Keaton, Inferno Intel. I know special teams was an area that you wanted to see improve this season, and you tried it out, Jesus, for a pretty long kick tonight. Just what did you think of that unit overall? Yeah, we gave up that one big kick return right to the field. They pinned us there. Other than that, we played well. We had a few punts that flipped the field. I had an MA. We called backed up punt on the 5-6 yard line. Probably should have called normal punt. That's why the coverage unit wasn't great on the punt there in the second quarter, going from the Tillman statue. Right, maybe just should have been in the regular punt so we get better coverage there. But other than that, I thought our special teams played great. We had a block punt. We had a fake punt converted. I thought they were a plus positive in the football game when it's all said and done. And I thought their specialists were good players. There's a guy that kicked the ball out of the end zone a lot of the times. Their punter boomed a couple. So kudos to them too. But I thought we performed well on special teams. Some things to clean up. That big kick return doesn't happen. I would say we performed really well.
Over the right. Time for a couple more. Sorry if we don't get to you.
Coach, you talked about NAU's exotic schemes and some penalties that you weren't happy about, but why do you think you got out-coached this
Yeah, anytime that I don't think we play up to our performance, it's on me. At the end of the day, like everything that happens in this program falls on me. So if I feel like we're not operating at optimum level, that's my fault. And I gotta find ways in order to fix that. So regardless of if it's a special team issue, if it's an effort issue, if it's they got a really good plan versus us and we don't, quite get it fixed as fast as I would like, regardless of it, whenever we don't, play as good of a game as I want to play, I put it on myself because that's where I think it should lie. Right? And we play really well, it's because the players play well. If we don't play great, it's because I got to be better. And I firmly believe that. And that's just how I operate. Like, it doesn't matter who you play. Like, if we don't play our best game, like, I look at myself and what could I have done better?
Jordan Ham, Sports 360 AZ. Coach, how would you assess the offensive line play, especially as they had to cycle through some guys with injuries?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough week one. And I know I keep saying that, but, like, you got to give those guys credit, too. Like, that is some weird stuff in a good way. Like, and it's sound. It's not weird unsound. It's some weird, good stuff. And I talked to their DC before the game, and I was just like, great job, man. Like, you're doing a great job. It's so different. It's like anytime you do something that's so different, all your prep you do all year, then it's, like, completely different. And then it's completely different than the completely different you practiced. Right, so you got to give them a lot of credit. So I thought our O-line adjusted well in the second half to all that stuff. We're going to continue to get weird stuff. It was just like Texas State last year. If you get weird stuff, you're going to get it again. And then some teams tried to do weird stuff again after Texas State, and we got it handled because we were used to some weird stuff, right? Because our defense doesn't do all that, so it's harder to practice it. So now that we got it, it's on tape. We get to clean it up. And now if a team tries to do it again, we'll be completely prepared for it because we go back and do corrections and fix all the problems from the prior game. That way we don't get beat with, I call copycat schemes. That way we can't get copycat schemed. So, but yeah, kudos to them. And I thought our O-line played decent I'll have to go back and watch the tape to see if it was some of the running backs and the pros and the bear, or to see if we're supposed to bump it off, depending on did we make a slip call or were we going 5-0 or whatever the decision was with the pro. Some of those I don't know live. Right, and I don't go over there on every single snap, so I gotta figure out those things. Yeah, it was huge. I mean, explosive play, scored a touchdown, really extended the lead there, and we needed some momentum. So it was absolutely huge, critical. And he's athletic, so those are the things that you do when you got an athletic dude back there. And like I said, I thought he had a good game.
All right, one more. Coach Luke Lemler, Sun Devil source. Jordan Crook also mentioned that there could be some communication issues that the defense could iron out. In your eyes, how much of that will naturally fix itself, and how much of it do you really need to hone in on in these coming practices?
Yeah, we got to hone in on it all. Like I told the guys, one of our emphasis after our spring scrimmage at Camp T was holding outside the framework of our body. Even though we weren't getting it called a lot, in practice, I was like, man, I can feel it. And I put that as an emphasis of we can't hold, right? So obviously we didn't make a big enough emphasis of that. I didn't make a big enough emphasis to get it fixed. We as a staff didn't make a big enough emphasis to get it fixed, because anytime that there's, consistently the same problem, right? You can't look at other people. You got to look and say, like I said, you look at yourself and say, okay, well, if multiple people are doing the same thing, then it's not a them problem, it's a me problem. And we've got to look at how we're coaching it. We got to really look at how the drills we're doing to teach it to try to get them fixed.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thank you. Go Devils.